Your doctors result of your fall. There came a time when there was an interruption in your treatment period.
Correct.
And approximately when was that?
2012, the whole year of 2012 and the first half of 2013.
And why was that?
We had some family issues and then a death.
And a death? I'm sorry.
Yes.
And after that, you resumed your treatment?
Yes.
Well, during that time, you continued to endure pain?
Did I endure pain?
Yes. And treatment that you had after that, and right up to the time of the deposition of Dr. Pittsburgh, you treated with whoever you were referred to and sought different kinds of treatment. Is that correct?
Correct.
All to no avail.
Pardon me?
All to no avail.
Correct.
As far as this business about gait interruption and women's legs and so on and so forth that opposing counsel talking about on cross-examination, have you ever had any gait problems or muscle problems or anything prior to this long?
No.
None whatever?
None.
You never saw a doctor for any gait problems?
None.
Underneath whatever it might have been that was diagnosed later?
No, I did not.
It all came in after August of 2000. No further questions.
Recross.
Thank you, Judge. Logan. Just briefly, I know you mentioned in response to counsel's questions that you didn't tell Dr. Pitchford about all those other various accidents you were in because you didn't consider them relevant. Is that right? You decided what was relevant to Dr. Pitchford?
Well, to the body part, I did.
Okay.
Even to just the area of the body.
Okay, you made the judgment for him. Right?
I didn't judge for him. When they asked your past history, I don't believe even that it asked what accidents you were in, was your car accident history, or I know it did ask surgery history. So I listed any surgeries previous to that.
When you're at the doctor's video deposition, you remember him testifying it's important to get patients' full history, get
Yes.
a full and accurate history?
I did.
And you didn't mention it even at that time to the doctor?
During his deposition,
Right.
I was not the person that could talk at his deposition.
Okay, well, you didn't put it in your notes that you gave to him that we marked that day?
There was nothing about that.
Counsel asked you that, he said you have no motive in bringing this lawsuit. Well, you certainly heard your attorney during jury selection tell the jury this case called for substantial damages. I think he even said $1.1 million. Remember hearing that?
$1 million? No.
Well,
He said that.
Substantial verdict.
I don't read substantial verdicts more.
I move that the
$1 million is stricken.
jury instruction
Disregard the statement about $1 million.
Anyway, you heard your counsel say many times during jury selection, this case calls for a substantial verdict, large amount of money. And you don't think that's motive?
No.
The pizza-eating man. No, he's a boy or a man?
Man.
Okay, why would we call him a boy?
I didn't call him that.
Okay. Did you tell your attorney he was a boy? How old did he appear to be?
To me, since I've seen him, he could be deceiving. I would say in his 20s.
Okay, well that's certainly a man, not a boy, right?
Correct.
Okay, so he's still eating pizza even when Alana shows up, I think is what you said in response to counsel's question. Right?
I didn't say he was eating pizza when she showed up.
Okay. Was she eating pizza?
Was she eating pizza?
Yeah.
No.
Okay. Gavin, he didn't, by the way, didn't mention that to anybody the day of the report at the store.
That he was eating pizza? Was it necessary to my hurt need?
Well, but the point is, or my question is, you didn't mention that day, did you?
I did not.
And I know you said, gee, nobody called me from Strachan Van Til about this incident. And again, we went through this yesterday. You, in fact, were called and gave a telephonic interview and statement the next day. Is that right?
I did.
And that's the same statement that you reviewed and read through on the day of your deposition. Is that right?
Correct.
And we see your deposition was taken June 5, 2012.
Correct.
And that typewritten statement, your interview was attached as Exhibit 7 to your deposition. Right?
Yes.
And again, that was taken August 17, 2009, when you spoke with Dorothy Hines.
Correct.
Now, you didn't mention in that statement the pizza eating man.
I did mention the employee that was standing by me.
Right, but you never said he was eating pizza. True.
Okay, I didn't mention that he was eating pizza.
You never mentioned that he saw water on the floor, as you suggested today, and failed to tell you.
I'm sorry, say that again?
Sure. Counsel asked you a question, and he said, yeah, when we first came around this aisle, the pizza eating man is by the pizza vendor at the end cap, and he's eating pizza. And he's just standing there eating pizza. And counsel said, well, he didn't tell you about the water on the floor. He said, no, he didn't.
That's a true statement.
But you don't even know if water was on the floor at that point, do you?
No, I don't.
And you didn't say anything like this at all in the statement to Dorothy Hines the day after the accident.
That the pizza eating man didn't show me that there was water in the aisle?
Right. None of these need that.
Correct.
Okay. And again, I think as we covered yesterday, you said I didn't make eye contact with the pizza man. I saw him as I went down.
Correct.
And I'll find it again, but you said, I'm not sure how much of it you saw.
Correct.
So that's the day after the incident. So yeah, there was a Stratton employee down at the end cap. I saw him as I went down. I'm not sure what he saw. Right?
Well, he was standing about 8 to 10 feet away from me.
Well, it's getting closer. It was 15 and it's 12 and now it's 8 to 10?
No, from where the pizza vendor was, and then I said he was closer to me.
Okay, when you said it was 15 feet, and I think yesterday it was 12 feet, and so now you're saying he's 8 or 10 feet?
I testified earlier that it was 8 to 10 feet from where he was standing to me when I fell.
Okay, so it is getting closer.
From my deposition, that was the same thing.
I found it. Store boy was there. I remember looking at him on my way down. I don't know how much of it he saw.
That was from the day.
The day after the accident. The assistant manager asked him and he said he didn't see it, but he saw me down. That was the day after the accident. No mention that there was water on the floor and he failed the warning.
Correct.
No mention that he failed to come to your assistance.
Correct.
No mention that he failed to call for help.
That's right.
No mention that he just stood there and watched you and didn't want to look at your dress.
What purpose is it?
My point, just the question. You didn't mention any of those things in this.
No, I did not.
And it's a 14-page statement. Do you recall that?
No, I don't know how many pages it had.
Okay, may I approach, Judge?
Yes.
How many pages?
14.
There was no mention in that statement that Alana came to the scene and said, oh yeah, we'll pay all your bills. You didn't mention that either, did you?
I don't know, I'd have to read through it again.
Okay. And again, you read through it on the day of your deposition.
I do remember being presented that at the deposition. I don't remember reading through it at the deposition, but
Well, I thought we did that yesterday too. For page 112, where I asked you piecemeal, that you reviewed that. I'll do it again if you like. I want to be sure.
no, you don't need to.
Pardon?
No, you don't need to. Like I said, I remember getting that at the deposition, and then from that point, where are we going with this?
So I did give it to you to read at your deposition.
I do remember receiving it at the deposition. I don't remember reading it at the deposition.
Okay, back to page 113 from your deposition that day. You're under oath.
Okay.
You're with your attorney,
Yes.
court reporter.
Yes.
You were asked this question. And then I believe Exhibit 7 is a transcription of a phone interview you gave to Dorothy Hines, and you had an opportunity to review that. Answer, yes. Did you answer that question in that fashion?
I did.
Okay. So you're not suggesting that I would try to push this statement on you without giving you an opportunity to read it at your deposition, right?
No.
All right. Okay, did you want to read this to see where, if you told them in this 14-page statement that Alana offered to pay all your bills?
If you want me to skim through it, I can skim through it.
I thought you said you'd have to say it in order to answer that question.
I can't remember if I said it on that.
Let's do it. This is important stuff to both sides. And then please just let us know when you've completed your review. Have you completed your review of that statement?
My review, yes.
Anywhere in there do you tell her that, Alana said you're going to pay all my bills?
No, it doesn't seem to be in here.
Okay. Now, before I forget, when we saw Dr. Pitcher here last year, he did another MRI.
Correct.
And you learned that the MRI was good. Your medial meniscus is still intact. The repair you did 3.5 years ago was good and satisfactory and fine.
over 4 years ago, yes.
Okay, yeah, even longer. I didn't play some sports and stuff in high school, volleyball, and what else was it?
I did not play high school sports, and I did
When you told me volleyball was your deposition, I thought something else.
like CYO, like not, not high school team.
Not varsity volleyball?
That stuff on the side.
Okay, what other sports did you play?
That was it.
Okay. All right, well, I thought it was that one. Well, now that you reviewed that 14-page statement, you have no complaints about that stalker, such as you made yesterday and today. True?
I had complaints that were expressed to her. Again, not seeing the relevance of telling her.
All right, so you're deciding what's relevant legally as well as medically?
Medically?
All right, you decide what Dr. Pittsburgh should hear or not hear, and now you decide what's legally important, legally relevant.
I was answering
Let me withdraw that.
questions.
Yeah, here's the question. Anywhere in that statement did you mention any of the criticisms of Peter Paul, the man had a name, the stalker, that you made these last 2 days? Such as, he failed to render assistance. He failed to go for help. He didn't do anything to help. Did you mention anything like that at all in that statement the day after the incident?
The day after the incident, no, I didn't. Again, not seeing the relevance.
You've answered the question. Please stop there, Your Honor.
For not doing your job.
Okay, ma'am. Just be responsive to the question.
Counsel asked you a couple of questions about how you told the truth today. Remember those?
Yes.
And I assume you told the truth yesterday? And I assume you told the truth at the time of your deposition
Yes.
on June 5, 2012,
Yes.
under penalty of perjury. And as part of that, you verified under oath at your deposition that that was a true and accurate statement that you gave the day after the accident, the 14-page statement.
Yes.
So you told the truth in that statement, you told the truth in your deposition, and you told the truth the last 2 days. But you agree there's a number of inconsistencies? Never mind. I'll withdraw the question. Let's go back to photograph here real quick of the aisle. When it goes a way back, I think counsel kind of had you walking one way or the other. I want to be clear. The photographer, when they took this photograph, they're looking towards the cashier's checkout. Is that right? And so the end cap, where the pizza vendor was located, would have been behind the photographer in this photograph, which is C6. And this, of course, is the photo where, well, counsel asked if you saw water on the floor there. I mean, the floor's obviously been mopped before they put the cones out, true?
I would guess, but I can't say that's a true statement.
Okay, so you think there's water in this photo and you can't see it? Is that your testimony?
Could there be water there?
Not good. Is that what you think?
Ask me again, please.
Do you believe that there's water in this photograph that cannot be seen? C6.
I can't answer that.
Do you think it makes sense to put out cones and mop later? Does that make sense to you?
I think it makes sense to put cones out to warn people that it's a dangerous situation.
Wasn't quite my question, was it? Do you think it makes sense to put cones out before you mop it?
Yes, it could, so nobody else spills or nobody else slips in it or steps in it.
Okay, then is that what you remember them doing, putting cones out before they mop?
I don't remember.
Do you know who called the utility clerks there?
Exactly, no. I do know that they weren't the first people out there, but I don't know who called them.
Okay, answer the question. You don't have to suggest other things. Now, and again, we'll stick with C6. This photo taken really short time after your incident happened. Sure.
It was taken at the same time.
And I think you told counsel that I did not see the water before I fell because, quote, it could not be seen, unquote. And initially you couldn't see it because your husband's tall and you said he was blocking your view. Right? On your path southward.
On our trip down here.
Okay? On your path northward, there's nobody, or no one else in the aisle, nothing blocking your view. You had a clear view of your path of travel. Yet you still say, it could not be seen. Yet, after the fall, you had no problem seeing a continuous spill, approximately 4 inches in width, running the entire length of the aisle north to south.
Correct.
You could see it way where your husband was before he came to you, all the way down at the south end. True?
That's correct.
And your husband testified that, well, you mentioned, he said, yes, I see this. Look, it runs the whole line. So your husband had no problem seeing it either.
Once realizing that I had slipped on something, sure.
Okay. And he's a tall fellow. He's farther away than anybody. Before, I should say. But he could see it the entire length of the aisle, too.
After realizing that there was something that I slipped in, yes.
So suddenly the lights are not a factor after the incident. Is that right?
The lights were still a factor.
But the lights didn't prevent you from seeing the water on the floor after the accident.
After I was sitting in it, no.
Well, and even after you stood, you could still see it.
After I stood up,
Sure. Yes, no?
I'm not really following what you're saying.
Did you see it after you stood?
After I sat down in the chair,
Well, initially you stood up, you brought your chair, you sat in the chair. Right?
I went from the floor to the chair.
Okay, let's do it this way. We'll try to keep it as short and simple as possible. When you first stood up before you got in the chair, could you see the spill from the standing position?
I wasn't looking.
There we go. When you sat in the chair, could you see the spill from the seated position?
Yes.
Now your husband, he was never lying on the floor.
No.
He was never sitting on the floor.
He was down riding.
My point is, he wasn't lying on the floor, he wasn't sitting on the floor, he wasn't kneeling on the floor.
He was. He knelt down riding on the floor.
Well, my point is, when he saw it, he was standing. He saw the spill without any problem.
When he came to me, he knelt down by me to make sure I was okay.
That wasn't my question, was it? Your husband was able to see the spill running the entire length of the aisle from a standing position.
After he knew I slipped in something, yes.
That's a yes. Okay, I got it. So the lights were evidently not a factor for him in terms of being unable to see the water on the floor.
Once he knew there was water there, no.
The glass doors on the freezers, those were not a factor for your husband. He was able to see that despite the doors.
Knowing there's water there.
Okay, so you have to know there's water there before you can see it? Is that your testimony? All right, and you maintain you were keeping a lookout, watching where you were walking that day. So let's get to that. I know when you first start down that aisle, when you think you're about done with your shopping, you're again at the north end of the aisle, headed south, which again is kind of the view that's in C6, right? If that water was there as you entered that aisle, you would have failed to see it the entire length of the aisle. True?
True.
When you returned, and actually if the water was there when you first entered the aisle, from that point until you turned around and came back, you would have passed that same water 2 times
Walking down and coming back.
without seeing it until you fell. I don't have anything further. Thank you. Judge, may I go get that?
Yes.
Okay, 14 picture.
The statement that is referred to, and there's 24 some pages, 14-page statement that was taken from you on the telephone on August 17, 2009. That was from a representative of Stratton Benefit Trust.
Yes.
Matter of fact, she says this is Dorothy Hines, August 17, speaking with Kristen Klein concerning the incident. All right, now, this wasn't a 14-page friendly discussion where you were given the opportunity to talk about the pizza fella and what he saw. There was a question and answer.
Right.
You were limited to answering the questions that she chose to answer.
Right.
This wasn't she never gave you an opportunity to explain anything, correct? You didn't have an attorney when you had the statement. You didn't have any legal advice. This is the day after when you were still there. So this wasn't a chatty type of thing where you had the opportunity to add all these things, correct? Counsel would like the jury to believe that.
Objection is what counsel would like, Your Honor.
All right, withdraw the question.
Right.
You didn't have the opportunity to interject things like that, because she never asked about this. She never asked you, was there anybody in the aisle there that saw the incident? You made eye contact, correct? That's not it. You didn't have a chance to even. You were limited to what the questions were, as opposed to giving the dialogue and trying to explain it. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So had you been given the opportunity to explain those things and invited to do so, you certainly would have done so, correct?
Yes.
But all you wanted was the answers to the questions. And if they did not include some of these things that we talked about today, then you would not have given them.
Exactly.
Once you had fallen in the water, you knew the water was on the floor.
Yes.
Right. And like you already said, once you're aware that water is there, you're obviously curious as to where it is. Now you're able to concentrate on knowing that there's something there you must look for and find it. But that wasn't apparent to you before you arrived at the place where you found.
Right.
And as I remember your testimony, Ken came over to you and attended to you, and then he went back to get help.
That's right.
Nobody there locally.
The front of the store.
And he was then now looking for evidence of what you done.
Yes.
At that time, he was telling you, as he was going toward the front of the store, that since he was making a real close examination and looking for water, he was able to find something.
Right. He was looking
Pointing it out to you as he went.
Right.
Is that why you're testifying that you could see the water? Are you saying you know the water was there, but Tim was seeing it and telling you?
Yes.
You weren't able to have to go down there and look yourself.
Right.
So your answer about you could see it, in effect, try to send this thing and tell you about it.
You could see it, and you could see it down quite a bit of the aisle once you knew what you were looking at. That was
Something
there.
would be there, getting down and concentrate on just that and nothing else.
Yes.
Did it take that to find out that there was more to this? Close examination once you knew it was there to find it?
Yes.
Not anything you could have seen before.
No.
Anything else, Mr.?
Just a couple quick points. When you were telling the truth at your deposition, you testified you had no problem seeing the spill after the fall, and you saw it run the entire length of the aisle. Is that true?
Sure.
And about the 14-page statement, Dorothy Hines asked if there were any witnesses. Remember that?
Okay.
And that's when you brought up the stalker. That's where you made the statement. I saw this man as I went down. I don't know if he saw me. I don't know what he saw.
Okay.
All right. And her next question was, in fact, I'll show it to you.
Her next question was,
Yeah, she says, Okay. Of course, grab the doctor's transcript. That's not going to here it is. Yeah, page 3 or 14. MN. See it?
yes, I do.
And then your next response was, and I know when the assistant manager asked him, he said he didn't see it, but he saw me down. Right?
Right.
Okay. So there's an example where you're volunteering information, you're not restricted by any question. Is that right?
It seems to be. I try to add it in where I could.
Yeah, okay. All right. And you were telling the truth that day as well.
Yes.
Okay, nothing further. Thank you. Nothing further.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, this is now it's your opportunity. If you have any questions you wish to ask of this witness, now's the time. Write them down and put them in the basket.